Hi there, this is Tom from Nightingale Games, and today we're going over Phase 6 on Parade for the game Imperial Borders, the Congress of Vienna, a Larry Harris game. Phase 6 happens just after annexations. You can see there are two boards here. There's this metals chart and a prestige chart, and this is dry erase. The game comes with these dry erase pens, which have an eraser on the end, a little magnet, and you'll be writing in the scores for different categories, and I'm going to go over those categories. Now, the first column is the morale column, and that's where you tally up all the enemy casualties for the battles you've had this round. And during battle, you toss all the enemies you've defeated into your storage tray. So France went hog wild, had all these battles, and won all these enemy casualties. Normally, you can store them in these trays for convenience, but I've taken France's out for now. So I'm going to tally these up. I've already done the numbers to save time here on this dry erase casualty list chart, which has battle dice log on the back, but right now we're using the casualty list. And so the points for each of these different units is the same as the gold value for purchasing. So you've got elite. You can't purchase these, but these are worth 5. And then there's a Prussian half infantry, a British full infantry, a British cavalry, a Prussian frigate. So we've got all that marked here with those 5, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then they've captured a port and a minor fort, let's say. And so those are worth 10 each. So that's 20. These are these 2 morale tokens. And let's say that they've lost a port as well to an enemy, and so they'll gain one of these red negative points. And so that all comes out to 43 casualty points, and you'll divide by 10 and round down. So that would be 4. So we'll take our pen and write in 4 here. And after you've done that for all nations which participated in battles or had any effect of casualties, you'll return all these extra bits back to storage and then tally up the other columns. So the second column is annexed territories, and those are the minor ones that give you 1 gold each. And so, for example, France has 3, Austria has 4, and so on. The next column is homeland territories, so that includes the capital and the major homelands, which are worth 2 income and 2 points here. So there's 4 major ones, so 2 times 4 is 8, plus the capital, which is worth 4. So 8 plus 4 is 12. So everybody starts the game with all of their homelands and their capital, and they start with 1 annexed territory, and they gradually accumulate more. The next column is elite land units. So you'll count up the number of elite land units you have. They generally start with 1 elite land unit or 1 elite ship. Britain and Spain both start with an elite ship instead of an elite land unit. This is the next column, elite ships. And then the final column is the tally for the round. So we'll tally this up: 7 plus 12 plus 1, that adds up to 20. So you'll write that in and do the same for all the other nations as I've done already. The other thing you get after tallying this up is you will be awarding these medals along the top, which give you a bonus at the end of the round. So for this first column, the morale column, you gain this medal, and you'll immediately gain a gold chest, which you can use to purchase units in the next phase, phase 7. You'll notice there's a gold chest as a reward for having the highest point value in each of these columns. If there's a tie, nobody gets the medal. So here, there's a tie between Austria and Russia, so nobody will be awarded this particular medal. Same goes for the homelands. Looks like France will get this medal. These 2 medals are a little bit different. This doubles the effect of an elite. So in combat, normally they'll roll an extra die. If they're a normal land unit, they will be rolling an extra white die. If they're a cannon, they'll be rolling an extra black die. This doubles the bonus that you get for an elite. So it also applies to any elite allies that are on your side during battle. And this is the same, but for naval ships. So if you have an elite frigate, instead of getting 1 bonus black die, you'll gain 2 for each elite ship that you have. And finally, there's this shiny metal. They all have clips on the back of them so you can pin them to your lapel. This is the Ad Victoriam Imperialis medal. And besides gaining the ability to gloat and prance around the room, you also gain the benefit during the next round where all of your bar results when trying to annex territories act as successes. So it makes annexing a little bit easier for you. But you're also painting a big target on your back here. It's all part of the game. Diplomacy and trying to not paint yourself as a target. Anyway, let's tally up the total points now. You get a move over to the prestige track. So France has 20, they'll gain 3, because first place gains 3 prestige. And it looks like there's a 3-way tie. So ties are friendly in this game for prestige counting. And they each get 2 for second place. And then third place will get 1. Looks like it's Prussia with 16. And sadly, Spain did not get any prestige this round. 4th and 5th and 6th don't get any prestige points. Now you see it's just the first round for now, but there are up to 9 rounds in the game. We can get to the next step of the on parade phase, which is if you've reached the 5th round, let's say it's the 5th game round, that's when you start voting as to whether or not you want to end the game at the end of the following round. So if they vote to end the game at the end of the 5th round, there'll be 1 more round and then the game will end. And how they vote is you'll be reusing the battle stance markers here. And if you play a shield, you're voting for peace. And if you play the burst, the offensive stance, you're voting for war. You want to continue the war. This is where the Congress of Vienna part comes in. This, by the way, is Napoleon. The premise of the game is set in 1815, so he's already long gone, but he's watching from beyond and judging everybody. So if there's a tie, the game will continue, but you'll notice that at the end of the 6th round and 7th round, there's these dove icons here, and that's 1 extra vote for peace, and this is 2 extra votes for peace. So the further you go along, the more the general populace wants the war to end, and there's more and more pressure. So there's more likely to end the game. And on the 8th round, you don't even need to vote because the game will end regardless at the end of the 9th round if you get that far. That's how the game end triggers. And as far as scoring points, how it works is you will, if you have any leftover gold, every 10 gold is worth a prestige point. So by the end of the game, these will be, somewhere along here. I'll move them along. And then they get the bonus for their gold. Let's say that, Austria has 13 gold, so you round down, they'll get 1 more point. None of these other nations have enough, but Russia has enough to gain 2. They saved up a lot of money. So this is the final score for prestige at the end of the game. Let's say the game ended in the 6th round. And you'll be adding this total, the total of your prestige board, plus the gold, plus these 4 columns on the last turn of the game. Not the first column, just the ones that are tinted gold with this frame, and then not the total either. So after you've done it for the last round, tallied all this up, transferred, and then boosted their prestige, you'll do one final sum, which is adding up these numbers and adding it to this. So for example, let's say that this was the end of the 6th round results. France has 15, 16 plus the 12. So 16 plus 12 is 28. That would be their final score. And if there's still a tie, then gold is a tiebreaker. And if there's a tie beyond that, then the victory is shared. For teams, if you're playing with teams, then you would add the sums of multiple nations together. And that's it. That's it for Phase 6 on Parade. See you next time.